Electronics Hints heartily welcome you to know simplified communication. Thanks for joining with me. Please like, share and subscribe to this video. Receive more electronics information. Kindly suggest your valuable feedback to improve the forthcoming videos. Thank you. What is the communication? The communication is the method of exchanging information by audio, video, written, signs and symbols. What are the types of communication? The types of communication are verbal, non-verbal, written and visual communication. What is the communication channel? The communication channel is the medium by which the signal has been sent from one place to another place. What are the types of communication channels? Types of communication channels are open wire, co-axial cable, optical media, free space and special medium. Why is the low frequency signal not transmitted to a long distance? The low frequency signal is easily attenuated in space and it requires large power and a very high antenna to transmit to a long distance. What is the modulation? Any one of the characteristics of a high frequency signal that is varied by the amplitude of the low frequency signal is the modulation. What is the need of the modulation? The frequency of the information signal is not sufficient to transmit the signal to a long distance. So, the modulation is needed to transmit the information signal to a long distance. What are advantages of the modulation? The modulation reduces the height of the antenna, avoids mixing of signals, increases the range of communication, multiplexing is possible, improves the quality of reception, converts a wideband signal to a narrowband signal, and it increases the radiated power of the antenna. What are the types of the modulation? The types of modulation are continuous modulation, pulse modulation. What are the main types of continuous modulation? The main types of continuous modulations are amplitude modulation and angle modulation. What are the types of angle modulation? The types of angle modulation are frequency modulation and phase modulation. What are the types of pulse modulation? The types of pulse modulation are analog modulation and digital modulation. What are the types of analog pulse modulation? The types of analog pulse modulation are pulse amplitude modulation, pulse width modulation and pulse position modulation. What are the types of digital modulation? The types of digital modulation are pulse code modulation and delta modulation. What are the types of amplitude modulation? The types of amplitude modulation are double sideband, suppress carrier, double sideband width carrier, single sideband width carrier and single sideband suppress carrier. What are important components of modulation? The important components of modulation are low frequency generator, high frequency generator and the modulator. What is the other name of the low frequency signal? The other name of the low frequency signal is modulating signal. What is the other name of the high frequency signal? The other name of the high frequency signal is the carrier signal. What is the modulated signal? The modulated signal is the modified carrier signal. How is the low frequency analog signal of communication generated? The low frequency analog signal of communication signal is generated by the mic or the camera. How is the high frequency generated? The high frequency signal is generated in the RF oscillator. Thanks to Google and books. Kindly forgive the mistakes in the video. Thank you for your visit to this channel. Kindly view the next video. Thanks.